Welcome back to End Zone Focus, Matthew. It's been a while since you've been on the program.
Thank you, Davina. Appreciate being here.
So let's go back to the very beginning. You've been teaching in Africa for quite a while now, and what drew you there in the first place?
I grew up in Africa. I was born in Zambia, and my early childhood was in Congo, and I went back to primary school in Zambia. So there's my heart is still there. Although having said that, I came to New Zealand for education and married a New Zealander, had New Zealand children and settled here. Went back on a family visit, and during that, the subsequent years, I think we were drawn into really seeing the very real needs in African communities. And that wasn't quick, that was a slow process, but seeing very many needs among the poor particularly, and that's what's drawn us to where we are now, working amongst poor communities.
And then you set up the Limapela Foundation. How did you get involved with the Cedric School?
Well, as teachers, probably very easily, because as teachers you're not only you're valued in the society, but as teachers we had the experience and could go confidently into that. Of course now we're not doing very much teaching, we're trying to empower Zambian teachers to do the job and do it well. But it's more a matter of administration now. I'm doing a lot more in the way of trying to build up the facilities, raise the money for what they need. It's a poor community with parents who either aren't employed or they're employed on very low wages. That's the reality of rural life in Zambia. In fact, even urban life, wages are not very high. It's been super to see the way Zambians have embraced what we're doing. They're very supportive. The whole community has given us a sense of ownership, which I really like. That's been part of our aim from the beginning. We haven't had to try very hard, in fact, because they feel as if it's their community school. And we don't want to be in a situation where the Limapela Cedric School is seen as Limapela School, that we want them to see it as a community school owned and run eventually by the community.
And now the Limapela Foundation is not just focusing on education, but towards community development as well, is that right?
Yeah, well, not quite yet, although we should be. I mean, our thrust is education, but as I've watched things move forward, I've been conscious that we can make a very nice school. We can put in running water and electricity, and we can have nice toilets, flushing toilets if you like, and books and electricity and all the things that we run, computers. But if the children enjoy that at school and then they go home to a dirt floor and squalor, there's an imbalance there. And I'm challenged by that because I think we really need to be working towards community development in a more general way. How we do that, we've got to do some talking. How do we actually put our energies into that as well as the school? Because there's a limit to how much you can get done in a day or a week.
And as you move towards that vision, what needs need to be met?
We would need to have a lot more people on the ground, and we're trying very hard to identify Zambians who are capable, and that's been rewarding because we're finding Zambian builders, we're finding Zambian agriculturists and farm managers, we're finding electricians and bricklayers and carpenters. We've got all those people within the community, and that's been good because we don't want to bring in expatriates, obviously, to do jobs that Zambians themselves can do.
And the Cedric School's been going for a long time in that community, hasn't it?
It has, yes. Cedric Whittemore started it in 1979, I think it was, and ran it for 30 years. And he did it because he had kids in the community who were children of his employees, and he wanted to provide an education for them. And then it grew. He provided more places for those who were not his farm workers, and on it went. So eventually we've ended up with the whole community being provided for. We could take a lot more pupils than we have. We think probably the demand could let us increase to 500, 2 classes at each grade level.
How much has faith or a sense of God's purpose in your life been a part of your mission in Zambia? Well,
it's a faith mission. There's no question. We couldn't do this. I've often said how we started off when we were about to establish the Limapela Foundation here as a registered charity in New Zealand. We had a donation. A colleague of ours who taught with us in Zambia said, "Oh, I like this idea," and she got her checkbook out. Now, she's a missionary teacher, but she got the checkbook out, wrote a check for $300 and said that I'd like to donate this. Well, my wife said, oh dear, now we have to do it, and I was thinking, great, now we can move ahead. But we were then going to audiences and saying, well, this is what we want to do, we need $1 million, we've made a start, we've got 300. You know, it sounds pretty silly. But then that is the way God works. He starts with it's like the mustard seed, a very small beginning, and I can happily say within 2 years 300,000 had been raised. And we have quite a number of supporters who are not people of Christian faith at all. And so you can't get into too much of the way your Christian faith works because it's a nonsense to them, but I can say to them because it's the right thing to do, and it is. Serving the poor is the right thing to do, whichever way you look at it.